Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? And especially if you own your own business, you want to see some financial freedom. Like you actually want to see some payback for all the effort you've been putting in. A lot of people think that owning your own small business is the fastest way to wealth building. And we're going to explore that today and just see, is that true? Or is there something else going on that you might want to know about before you start your business or scale it? Hello, welcome back. I'm Christina Scalera and I'm once again in a hotel. This time, if you're following along on Instagram, make sure you are, it's at Christina Scalera. You would know that I got snowed into a hotel today, waiting to close on my house. So here I am in Colorado, about 50 miles away from new home. But the show must go on, so thank you so much for being here. Thank you for those of you who have subscribed. We just recently hit 10,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone. In fact, my goal last year was to hit 1,000 subscribers, so this is a really momentous occasion, and I hope you'll celebrate with me by smashing the like button and carrying forward that good karma by sharing this video with a friend. Starting a business can be a great way to take control of your financial future, but it's not without its challenges. And I don't mean cushy challenges like getting stuck in a hotel because you're shopping for a second home. These are good problems to have. I keep saying to myself, keep saying that. All right, but all joking aside, I literally am only in this situation today because I started a business. And not only because I started a business that paid me well, even better every consecutive year, but it also was something that I was able to sell as an asset. So I did a lot of videos on that. You can check those out on this channel. And I truly believe that at 34 years old, the only way that I have 2 houses in 2 very high cost of living areas is because of owning my own business. This would not have been possible through a traditional career path, both because I would not have the flexibility of time to do this, and I also would not have had the income and the financial means to live out my dreams. So maybe your dream isn't owning a bunch of property. Maybe your dream is something more like more time with your family, more time with your friends, just fancy brunches out every weekend, nice handbags, a big fat bank account. Whatever your dream is, your small business can be available for that. However, there are some important things to know as you go into this a little bit deeper. Namely, if you want to avoid overwhelm, one of the first things you need to be able to do is have a clear plan in mind. And this plan doesn't have to go off every single step without any kind of problem, but you should have some sort of goal that you're working towards each and every day. So for example, I'm closing on this house and every single day there's a new task that we're working towards. And like literally just before I filmed this, I got a call, there's a big problem and it's gonna delay the closing potentially by a day, potentially by 2 weeks. And that's the kind of thing that even though there are things that are not going according to plan, even though we've had plenty of time to prepare and make sure everything does go according to plan, there are still things that are going to go wrong. However, at the end of the day, if you have a goal in mind, you can continue to work towards that. If you have no idea where you're going or why you want to get there, it can be really difficult to ever see any kind of progress, and you're likely to stay stuck in this overwhelmed, I don't know where to get started space. If that describes a lot of what you're going through right now, you're not alone. And the first thing you always want to do is make sure to rule out any kind of like biological or psychological, anything that's going on. And then make sure that you have this game plan in place. Again, not to be a stickler for the plan itself, but to make sure that you are constantly making progress towards your goals. As someone who suffers with ADHD, OCD, and depression, one of the things that I would do as I was getting my business started and struggling with these conditions is I would make sure that I always was doing one thing every single day that moved the needle forward on my business. And a lot of times this looked like opening up one of the many online courses I had purchased and watching one module of it, or one lesson from one module, or listening to a podcast about business on the days that I just really felt like I couldn't work or didn't know what to do. It's very normal to start from this place of overwhelm, but you don't want to stay there. So do one thing every single day that helps to get you unstuck, even if that one little thing is very tiny and feels like it's not really moving the needle. I promise you, as you look back over the previous year, doing one thing every day, it's going to make a big difference. And what I actually find, especially when I'm suffering with my seasonal depression because of the sunlight and winter and stuff, I find that these types of little actions can actually motivate me and excite me into taking bigger actions, so that every single day that one thing becomes more and more productive, and that creates momentum in and of itself. So if you want to enjoy more financial freedom through your own business, that's the secret. You have to actually start the business. And in order to do that, you have to overcome your overwhelm, which sounds good in a YouTube video on paper, but it takes a little bit of practice, and you doing this one thing every day is that practice. The next thing you can do as you are seeking this financial freedom through starting your own business is making sure that you're following the right mentors. And these are the right mentors for you, not for someone else. Because if you are going with whoever's trendy or whoever's exploding on TikTok, they are not necessarily going to be the person who helps to elevate you and your situation. I like to take this one step further, again, because of everything else that I already told you about myself. I can find myself very easily overwhelmed. And oftentimes when I have more than 2 mentors, I start to get a little sidetracked, as everybody has a different approach to success, and they all think that their thing is going to catapult me to the next level. Well, yes, I'm sure they are all right. Like if I followed person A's plan or person B's plan to a T, I would find success with that plan. Following both of those plans at the same time can lead to a lot of confusion and oftentimes conflicting goals, so that I'm not hitting the mark in either project or either area, and that leads me right back to where I started, back into that state of overwhelm. My suggestion is that you very carefully follow someone. I would hope that person is me, but if it's not, you want to make sure that you follow the right mentor, maybe 2 mentors that are aligned and complementary to each other, so that you can really lean into what they say and watch all their content and read all their Instagram posts and listen to all the podcasts they've been on. Just make sure that you fully immerse yourself in that person and their trainings, their teachings. You can do that for a period of 3 months to a year, maybe even longer. My mentor, Kelly, I've been working with her since 2013. So this really doesn't need to be someone trendy. It needs to be someone who is a good fit for you and those goals that we established earlier that you want to accomplish. Because if you want to blow up on TikTok, but you're hiring someone who's an Instagram expert, what are the chances that that is going to happen? Probably a lot less than if you had hired someone who is very good at TikTok and you're following them to blow up on TikTok. A final thought here, as we are helping you move from this state of lack and I can't do this and I'm overwhelmed into a successful small business owner who has financial freedom. If you're anywhere along that journey and you hear me say you need to follow a mentor, please know that this doesn't have to necessarily be a paid mentor, although I think there's a very powerful dynamic that comes with paying someone for their time and even more access to them by getting into a group coaching program, or like my private clients, working with them one-on-one. So if that is something that appeals to you, if you like having that direct access to someone, or if you want to make sure that you just have that extra layer of accountability, then think about how you can start to invest in that mentor aside from just your time. So actually a financial commitment to put your money where your mouth is and hire that person to help them take you all the way to that next step in your journey. Number 3, this is a little bit of a weird area for me. If you've watched any of my previous content, you would know that I have had a bit of a rocky personal life with relationships, and honestly, who hasn't? But just over the last 5 years, I have changed my life dramatically personally. I've gone from being in a relationship with someone that not good, to exiting that relationship, being on my own, living in a tiny mountain town of 2,000 people, and then dating someone in Denver, getting engaged, married to that person who's in the military, and that military husband has moved just across the country to Washington State now, and having all of those ups and downs along the way. I've also gotten another dog. I have my 2 horses. So, I've been pretty busy personally, although I will say that the biggest change in my business, for good and for bad, happened when I left the previous relationship I was in, the not good relationship. And it was both good and bad for my business. So first of all, I just always had this hunch that if I left that relationship, my business would explode. And it did. My shop went from making somewhere around $250,000 to $300,000 a year to $400,000 and $500,000, and then last year selling it for a very nice multiple of the previous year's revenue. So I'm really happy with how everything has turned out. However, I will say that one thing that is an unintended side effect of leaving a bad relationship is, yes, my overall life and quality of life and business and relationships and all of that improved, but I actually find that I'm working a lot less and getting a lot less done because I'm not constantly at my office or like trying to work to escape a bad personal life. So you want to make sure that as you are growing and working towards this financial freedom, that you're also maintaining a personal life that you want to live, because that is really your life. At the end of your existence, you're never going to look back and wonder why you didn't spend more time building that funnel next week. However, you might look back and wonder why you spent most of your 20s with someone who didn't deserve to be with you. Now that I'm in a good, healthy relationship that's supportive of the work that I do, it's made a night and day difference in terms of being more confident in my content. If you don't believe me, you should go back and look at some of my old videos. I think a lot of them are on my old shop page on Facebook, but I was so not confident, like unconfident, I don't know. I just lacked confidence in any video that I ever did. If you had asked me to get up in front of a stage audience, I would have put together, and I did this many times, so I know I would have done this, but I would have put together a 50+ slide deck presentation for that audience, because I was just so not confident in my ability to talk with them and that my talk would actually have information or motivation that I could convey. So I would have like tried to overcompensate in other ways. And what I've learned in having a supportive partner in my life is that it makes such a big difference for creating content like this, because there are plenty of people who are going to be online trolls that try to tear you down. And they are going to be there at the end of the day to pull you out of anything that you're feeling around that, really set reality straight and just remind you that you're an awesome person and you don't deserve the comments that you're getting, or like they'll make fun of the comments with you, whatever the case may be. And even if that isn't a partner, I hope that each and every one of you, as you are growing in this business journey, do have supportive relationships, whether it's family or friends or partner in your life. I really wish I had prioritized this earlier. I think that I actually would have gone a lot further much earlier if I had someone who wasn't constantly trying to tear me down. Just as an example, because I know you guys want the real tea. So when I was in my past relationship, I was not supported, and in fact, I was often undermined. And one of the worst cases of this, I'll never forget, this was December of 2017. I launched like the very prototype of what is now Launch Your Shop Academy. But at the time, it was like a $3,000 7-month coaching program that included a retreat and a course and all this other stuff, right? So I launched that on a webinar, and there's like 24 people on this webinar. Not a lot, right? I do webinars now, they have like usually 300 to 500 people that are signed up, maybe like 100 attend lives. It was a very small webinar at the time. And from that webinar, I actually had over half of those people close. So I had about 11 or 12 people, I can't remember the exact number, who said yes. And this was a $3,000 to $4,000 commitment, depending on their payment plan and their tier and all that stuff. I remember getting off that webinar and going to the partner that I was with at the time and telling him that I had just made over $30,000 in 60 minutes. And his first response to me was, well, yeah, but how much of that do you get to keep? Not like, great job, babe, or wow, that's amazing. His first sentence out of his mouth was, well, yeah, but how much do you get to keep? And he said it in such like a condescending tone. So if you have someone like that in your life, I hope they're not your partner like it was for me, but if you have someone like that in your life, there is no harm in putting up the boundaries that you need or ending those kinds of relationships in order to move forward as the new person that you're becoming, who owns a business, who is financially free. I definitely spend a lot of time on here and on my Instagram diving into those more tangible, like exact step-by-step frameworks that you can use to achieve that financial freedom. But I can promise you that if you do not master these 3 things, you are never going to be financially free, and you definitely won't have a life that you look forward to living. So tell me, after watching this, does any of it resonate for you? What is holding you back from becoming that financially free person that you want to be? If you're sick of living paycheck to paycheck like I was, it's time to take control of your financial future and start your own small business. And if you do not know how to do that, there's tons of resources on this page. So make sure you're subscribed and just binge watch all the videos. It's going to give you lots of ideas. In fact, there's many that are like the entire video is just giving you ideas. So you really have no excuse to start. But if you are still finding yourself overwhelmed or a little hesitant to make the next step, tell me what's holding you back in the comments below so we can workshop through some of that. And if you want to see how I went from beyond broke, like $73,000 of credit card debt to multiple 6 figures saved with a real estate portfolio now, I'm going to be covering that more in depth in my next video that I'm actually filming right after this because I'm a little behind schedule due to getting sick and then trying to close on this house, and this weather is not cooperating. So you're gonna see me just, nothing fancy. You just gotta get it done. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is and showing you guys exactly what it looks like to get this done under less than ideal circumstances. I hope you can use that as motivation to do whatever you need to do this week, because done is better than perfect. It's the motto I live by, and it's honestly been like the siren song constantly playing in the back of my head for the last like 2 months. So done is better than perfect. Take that with you, carry it throughout your day. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.